When Jeff and I first started the company, we were using the guest room on the second floor of our house, and it was one of those 10 by 12 size rooms where we had two nice sized desks in there, so our chairs would actually bump up against each other.
Our chairs bumped into each other if we backed up from our desks, so it was a little crazy.
Living in that room 12, 14 hours a day, me doing sales, Jeff doing programming, him stopping programming and listening to my sales calls, that was a challenge for sure.
A lot of it in the beginning years was her selling a feature and then me turning around and having to write it over the next couple days to fulfill that commitment to the client, so it was kind of funny.
Operating a business out of our home probably wasn't the smartest move that we had, but it was certainly the most economical. So at various points, what we found it easier to do was to hire our neighbors to work in the business. That way no one complained about us, so it kind of worked out fairly well. At one point we had, I think about 8 employees, and we wound up renting a neighbor's driveway.
The advantages of that approach were we both were exposed to all aspects of the company. When I got on the phone and talked with the client from a support point of view, she could hear all of that, and she learned a lot about the product that way. And when she was on the phone talking with a prospective client, I could hear the needs and the wants of that client. I could make sure I got those incorporated into the product. The downside of that is, you know, you can only work so close with a spouse for so long, so it wasn't too long before we had to get separate offices. But we work very well together. It's just that we don't work in the same 10 square foot cubicle anymore.
Our very first client was a condo in downtown Atlanta called Peachtree Condominiums.
I had taken off and gone down to downtown Atlanta and met with this client and showed him our demonstration of our product, and they signed up right then and there and actually handed us a check. And I remember walking out of the lobby of the building and immediately jumping on the cell phone and calling Susan, and we kind of had a jump up and down moment there when I had a, you know, probably a $90 check in my hand. So that was exciting, our very first client.
I remember him calling me going, I have a check, I have a check. And then there was the big debate, should we cash the check, or are you supposed to frame it like you frame your first dollar you ever made?
So we eventually moved downstairs into our basement because it had more room for us to spread out, and at that point we had gotten up to 6 employees. So we had 6 employees, and that involved 6 cars in our driveway. And at one point in time, my sister, who both works for our company and lived right across the street from us, we actually, AtHomeNet, ended up renting her driveway from her, so half of our employees could park in her driveway, so we didn't have an entire slew of cars in the cul-de-sac out in front of our house. So probably that is the turning point when we decided, hey, it's time to go find an office.